Well, hello and welcome to Bowtie Life, the Raised Garden Bed Tours. Every month we do 3 garden tours, one for the front and outer beds. Front and side bed gardens, one for the outer backyard beds, and one for the raised garden beds. And behind me, we have the raised garden beds. And also right here, something I like to include here is our little GreenStalk, which we've been growing for a while here. But let's go take a closer look at all these plants and see how things are going, and just kind of get an idea of what kind of progress we can expect from the garden. It's I think it's very exciting. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So I'm out here at 6 o'clock in the evening. The sun's kind of setting low over here. We have a few wispy clouds up in the air, and I'm sitting here. I'm looking at a lizard staring at me. He's wondering what I'm doing. Sitting here, I don't know if you can see him over here on the wall, but that's just I love my lizards. They're awesome. I get so excited when I come out here into the garden and see stuff growing, and I pop something in my mouth, which means a lot of the stuff that I harvest never gets weighed. So when you see on my website, I'm at almost 140 pounds of harvest this year so far. That's just what made it to the scale. I know there's been a number of pounds, probably a dozen pounds harvested by other people while I was traveling this summer. I've had a lot of trips, and a lot of the harvest has been slowed down because of the traveling. So that's kind of been a downside for this year. But we are working on selling our cabin in Arkansas, and we are hopefully going to be going up one more time, and we may be done with the cabin in Arkansas. But if you're just stumbling along finding our channel, please subscribe. We appreciate you watching. I encourage you to watch through the whole thing. Encourage you to watch the other 2 parts of the July garden tours. We do this every single month. I do it in almost the same order. I try to keep it the same order. Sometimes I get messed up and get turned around in my little ADD brain, but I like keeping it in the same order for myself, because these tours are my own notes of what's going on in the garden. I can note next year, I can look back at the videos because it's on YouTube, and I can see, okay, what was I growing last year and when did it develop? How long did it take to develop? Did it develop in a month or did it develop in 3 months? Yada, yada, yada. How big did it grow? All this other questions that I might have while I'm standing at the store looking at a rack of seeds, trying to figure out which seeds I want to get this year. But so this is my log, and you are so welcome to come along and join me in my log and what's going on. So please subscribe. Those of you who are coming back and watching again, thank you so much for subscribing. Every time you watch a whole video, it helps grow the community. And as I've said before in these garden tours and other videos, that community is not just this channel. It's all these quality gardening channels that we have growing that's becoming an absolute encyclopedia of information of every topic that you can possibly imagine having to do with gardening and growing your own food and sustainability and living with permaculture and living at homesteading and all this other stuff. It's just, I can't believe that I might one day be considered part of that community. I don't know. But we do appreciate you watching our videos. But without saying any more about that, let's get right on with the garden tour and see what's been going on. So this GreenStalk started out being an experiment. I've been watching people who do these. I actually started using it because I was intending to grow lettuce on it, and we didn't do very well with lettuce because, well, we're in Florida. We're in Destin, Florida. It gets hot here, humid. It's not really good environment to be growing lettuce, especially in the summer outdoors. So I've kind of redirected a little bit. You can see I do have some parsley growing over here. We have some dill here. I even threw a few strawberry plants in here, and you'll notice there's a lot of dead leaves. These are actually from before I planted these. But look here, here's a runner coming out trying to put out a new strawberry plant. That's cool. I might let that get a little longer and try to plant it. Let me see if I can get this done real quick. So what you do is you take this and see, this is a new little plant, a little clone of Mama coming out here. an absolute clone. It's not quite tall enough to reach into this one right here, but that's the kind of thing I would like to do with it. I'm going to see if that'll grow a little longer, and maybe I can stick that in there at a later date. But anyway, so yeah, there's some strawberries. I don't know what this is growing in here. I don't think that's anything I want. I hope it wasn't, because I just pulled it out. There's other things growing. Oh, there's a oh, looky here. Here's a perfect example. There's a clone strawberry plant right here. Oh, a double clone strawberry plant right here. Look at this runner. I didn't see this one. I have been traveling, so I haven't been keeping as close an eye on this as I'd like to. But what you do, you see that runner? I want to put another plant in here. I simply dig a little bit and put those roots in contact with the soil. I need to get this other one lifted up here, because this one's going to go right here. And you can see there's little roots coming off the bottom there. See the little roots off that? Those roots will develop into a plant. And this is kind of hard with one hand. I'm going to have to do that later, but that's the kind of thing I was looking for. I was hoping to get a few more rows of strawberries on here. We have some other celery down here. This is flower leaf. That's on dill. This is dill right here. This is, I think that might be parsley. But this thing turns, and I turn it a little bit. I try to turn it a little bit most days. This is basil right here. Oh yeah, nice basil. This is, of course, is basil as well. I believe it's Genovese basil, but I can't remember which one. It was a mixed pack, so I'm not positive. But yeah, you can see that there's all kinds of things growing in here, just coexisting. And look how small of a space it's taking. It's just taking one small space here. Now, one thing I did do is I added this to my irrigation. And what happens, the way this works, when you want to water this thing, you fill this, you see the little lines right here? You fill this thing up to the top line, and it goes down this hole, and there's little bins all the way down. In fact, you can see the white bin up underneath there. There's one of those every layer, and it helps distribute that water all the way down. And then any excess water, there's actually a tube, which you cannot see from this thing. I can actually barely see it. There's a tube down there out the back that just shoots the extra water into the dirt. Yeah, this is a clever device right here that, talking about small footprint gardening, this is awesome. This is really neat. This has a lot of potential. So we're going to have some more experiments. That I haven't even had this thing a full 6 months yet. So we're going to kind of play around with this and see what more we can do with it. If I turn around and look at bed number 1, you can see that, wow, the Kajari melons are gone. And let me tell you something. Go back and look at that cross-pollination video that I shot. These things shocked me, and offer it as a fair warning for anyone else thinking of growing things that may have cross-pollinated. These were the ugliest Kajari melons I have ever seen. Well, they weren't Kajari melons. They were a cross between Kajari and cantaloupe. They had little to no taste, and they were weird. So that was not great. Go watch that video if you're interested in oh, well, we're going to talk about the failed experiment in a few minutes. So yeah, what you'll notice, these little green things right here, if you look down inside here though, looky there, there's new Kajari melons growing. Now these seeds are actually from the packet from the seed manufacturer, and I can't remember who I got this from. I think that was Baker Creek. There's 2 there. There's another one down here trying to grow up, and the first one down here, I thought I saw something coming up, but I don't see anything coming up now, so I'm not worried about it. I got 3 growing right now, so hopefully that's going to be enough. Next to that, of course, is the ginger. Now, you may remember there used to be a tomato plant in here. Go look at the second part of this month's garden tour. Right at the very beginning, you can see where that tomato plant is now hanging. It is ripening tomatoes on a hook upside down. But the ginger, oh my goodness, the ginger is taking on. Look at this stuff. Let's see if I can just dig up a little bit of this right here. Look at that ginger right there. That's ginger root. And it's growing strong. It's going to get bigger. There's a big old knob right there. These things are going to get bigger. We don't want to disturb it too much though. All these where you see multiple things coming out. Look at down here. That's a big one. Look at that. That is so beautiful. We're gonna have more ginger root this year, and I'm gonna be preserving more of it. I did a bad job getting on top of it. We almost lost the stuff to plant for this year. I had just enough to plant for this year, but I do like ginger. Love the ginger. But now go back and look at how to protect these seedlings, and you'll see these cups being placed. These have the bottoms cut out. This is our cucumbers. Now this has been in here a couple days now. They've been growing a couple days now, and look how big they're getting. That one's getting big, this one's getting big, and then there's 2 down here. So we have 6 cucumber plants growing strong in these little cups that Emerson helped. I just shot that other video yesterday, and already, I mean, there's a close-up picture of 2 plants. That's the 2 plants. They're already starting to grow. They're 3 or 4 times taller. Yesterday's close-up, they were just barely out of the ground. Actually popped out of the ground yesterday. So these will be growing up this trellis, kind of like the cucumbers over here. These are all spent cucumbers. I'm not expecting these things to produce anymore. So basically, these need to be torn out and done the same thing too. But we have blackberries. I decided to try controlling the blackberries down over at the end here. And this is really the only thing at the end is these blackberries. And I've got a lot of vines going here, so I'm hoping this area will be a little bit of another blackberry area for next year, next spring, when we're collecting blackberries again. Got a lot of stuff. In fact, let me just dig my way in here. You can see this here is a blackberry, the base one, and there's another one over. Oh, this is the base of one. It's buried down here. Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, it forks down. See if I can get beyond this leaf here. You can see that it forks right here. That's the one I just shook, and this is the other one. So we got a lot of potential blackberries growing up here for next year, which will, if we can keep them growing up trellis, they will grow strong and be another source of harvest for next year. So I've stepped out of the center of the bed. We were just standing right there looking at these blackberries. Those are the cups for the cucumbers. And we're coming over here to the okra patch. And this I am just so thrilled about, because this is starting to take off. And if you like okra, this is the bed to keep an eye on. You'll notice we do a lot of indexing in all of our garden tours, most of our videos, in fact. And those indexes, you can go right to the very things we were talking about if you're interested in seeing something in particular. But these, let me back up here, because these okra last year, you can go back and look at it. These okra, now mind you, they're already 2 feet off the ground. They grew from that point from the ground, they grew 17 feet tall. So yeah, they're gonna be above the trellis. I had to have a ladder to harvest last year. It was crazy. Crazy. But let me tell you something, these things are just starting to produce. And now that's a little bit of a small one right there. But there's a nice one, right? Look at that one right there. Oh my goodness. And these things are just delicious. If you like okra, try raw okra right off the plant. It is so good. We come out here and I'll admit, some of this doesn't make it to the garden. I mean, to the kitchen. Because it gets eaten. Now here's one that's getting pretty big. It could get a little bit woody at the tip. And I'll show you how to test that. So what you do is you just take that tip and see if it breaks off cleanly. Oh, it did. Oh yeah, see, that's still, I think that's still good. You can also bite that tip. Oh, fresh. Woo, nice. They get woody when they get too big. And so when they're woody, they're pretty much inedible. If you got animals, you can feed them to the animals, but they're not really good for human consumption. So I come through here. Now I'm harvesting about once every 2 or 3 days now, but here pretty soon it's gonna be harvesting every day for a while. In fact, for months. But I see one back here. I'm trying to climb in here with it. Oh, there it is. Look at there. Look at there. How can I get to it? Oh, I'm in a bad angle here. And now I don't know. Oh, there it is. I see it. So notice how little damage there is to the leaves in these things. The insects here just don't seem to know what to do with it. They don't seem to know it's food. This is Texas Hill Country Okra. It grows big, it grows tall. Now you're used to seeing little green okras. These things grow big and round. In fact, as this plant gets older, these things will grow bigger and rounder. There's another one. Kind of on the small side, but I'll take it. And it fell down here. Yeah, these things grow bigger and rounder until, I mean, they're the size of a $50 eventually. And oh, they make great fried okra. Oh my goodness. Fried okra off these is just amazing. So yeah, that is one of our treats, is this Hill Country Red Okra. And there's even a little green lizard up there patrolling for bugs for me. Can you see him there? He's a cute little fella. Anyway, I love the lizards. They're just awesome. We have a marigold here. We actually have a marigold growing. That's kind of cool. Looks like we have another one trying to come out there. This is kind of getting overrun by a lot of other stuff. It needs to come in here and get that under control. Look at here. This is a blackberry branch. It's kind of gotten away. Need to get in there once we clean these cucumbers out and get that taken care of. You can see there's cucumbers growing out all over under here. This thing is kind of getting away. Notice how few flowers there are. There are some flowers. These are male flowers. There's no fruit at the base of them. Oh, see, that would have been a female flower. There's the fruit. That would have been a female flower. Not very many female flowers coming out of this thing at all, which means it's not producing fruit. It's kind of slowing itself down, and you can see it's kind of suffering for it too. That's the end of bed number one. Over the end here, we have some volunteer marigolds, which is kind of interesting because this thing really is not on irrigation at all. This has totally been watered, which you can tell there's barely any dirt in there. Totally being watered by the rain, or subtropical rain. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Craziness. Oh my goodness. We are 10 feet away from the blackberries, and look at this thing growing all the way over here, and there's another one growing down underneath my pile of cucumbers. The turmeric. Okay, so I got to show you the turmeric. This is a little exciting because there was one thing of turmeric. I had one thing to spare, and I planted it, and that's this one right here. But look, it's growing others now. It's got 3 things of turmeric growing now. I'm very excited about these. So that's starting to grow strong, completely watered by the rain, is not on irrigation. This is just cool. Very simple to grow. You stick the piece of turmeric in the ground, it eventually comes up. Now, interesting thing, you do it the same way you do the ginger, which is just right over there. Those ginger you stick in the ground and they'll pop up in about a week. Sometimes even faster. It doesn't take long for those things to pop up. But the turmeric takes about a month to pop up, and you will swear that they're dead. And then one day you'll see one of these little swirly leaves come popping up over the ground, and you'll be like, oh, maybe it's not dead. So turmeric just grows a lot slower than ginger. The pear tree that has never produced, I'm going to give this several years to do something, but I know I've got to take care of this thing. It looks terrible. I'm learning, okay? Yeah, it's my 4th successful year of gardening. I'm still learning. You got to allow yourself the time to learn these things. But it looks good for the most part. Some of these leaves down at the very bottom look rough, which I should have trimmed that bottom one off, and a lot of those dead, diseased leaves. But so this is a failed experiment over here. I actually kept those Kajari melons over there. I grew them in solo cups. I planted out 4 of them there, and I had, I don't know, 8 left. And so I left them over in my seed starting area. Well, they kind of stunted the growth because these Kajari melons were stuck in a solo cup. So it kind of keeps them small. And I was hoping it would keep them small, and it did. And so finally, when I had the time, I got over here, finished this bed, excuse me, planted them up, and well, 2 of them have already died. I don't have much hope for that one on the right. This one in the middle, I'm actually taking out because I know that it's most likely a failed Kajari melon, because it probably got cross-pollinated with cantaloupe. And so, complete failed experiment. So, bed number 2 over here, the wall of beans. And I gotta say, the wall of beans is not producing. And I think it's because it is having too much sun. Last year, this thing was green, but up here where we took out the big tree, it was nice and shaded. So I actually have a shade cloth to put over this. In fact, you can see I have a shade cloth over the ginger and the Kajari here. And I've got another shade cloth down over there over the tomatoes. I'll show you in a minute. But I've got another shade cloth to put up here. I'm going to try to jury rig it for this year to get it up here. And then hopefully we can start up. I mean, it'll start producing in a month anyway. But look, I mean, there's a lot of buds on here. Are these buds staying now? Oh, they are staying. Oh, it's going to start producing. That's a good sign. Okay, so our weather is kind of changing a little bit. The rain we've had the past couple of days has been nice. It could come back. You'll notice what I did is I let it grow up over the top here to provide itself with more shade, and it actually worked last year beautifully, especially down here where that tree was not covering. But yeah, I'm just kind of glad. Oh, look, there's a seed pod. There's another seed pod I missed. Okay, so, well, again, I've been traveling, so I've missed a few things. That's disappointing, because that will encourage that plant, because it says, oh, I've produced my seed pods. I'm dead. I have done my goal in life. We don't want that to happen. You want to keep picking those fruit. A lot of fruit are like that. You keep picking them and don't let them go to full maturity, so that the plant never thinks it's accomplished its goal in life. Its goal in life is to produce seeds so it can reproduce. I'm going to go over to the other side of the bean wall. So we're on the patio side of the bean wall, bed number 2. It's a 16-foot long cattle panel up inside there. Another 16-foot long cattle panel up there. You get them from, or I get them from Tractor Supply down here. I want to say they're like 33, 35 bucks a piece, maybe 36. I can't remember. But yeah, I'm sure I've missed some beans, and I probably need to, now that I know that there might have been some beans in there, I should go through here. There are buds on this side too, though, so we might be getting some, and they're sticking. When those buds are weak, they'll fall off real easy, like right here. See, those are not falling off. Okay, that's promising. That might be developing. I feel something inside them too. So on this side of the beans, though, we have a row of plants here that we are cultivating. There's a Peppadew right here that looks like it's almost ready to be picked. That's almost beautiful. Supposed to come out red. I think this is another Peppadew here. Let me check that tag. Yes, that's another Peppadew. It's a small pepper, real small, not very little heat, almost no heat, like 100 on the Scoville scale. Jalapeno is like 2 to 5,000, 3 to 8,000, somewhere in there. These things are like 100, so very little heat. There's another marigold there that hasn't produced any flowers yet. Now, it is kind of in the chasm here between the house over here and the bean wall over here, so it's not getting full sun. It's not getting, well, it might be getting 5-6 hours of sun, so it might still do. We'll have to see. Basil is good to grow. You notice I have a lot of basil growing around. That's a good thing to confuse pests in the garden, and that's very it's a very useful thing to have. Again, I've showed it previously. That's a flowering head right there, and if you pick those, this thing will last longer. And you'll notice right here where I'm about to pick it, there's 2 other branches that are ready to pop out. As soon as I pick this, those other 2 are gonna pop or start growing. Plant's gonna send out the signal, yo, grow, and it'll grow. Thai hot. Oh, I've been a year without tie hot, so I'm so excited about these. Look at all these growing. Oh, I'm so excited. That thing is just growing strong. We have more tie hots coming in right here. You could tell they're tie hots, not Dragon Cayenne, because they stick straight up. All the tie hots stick straight up, and if I go over here to this one, you see how these are hanging down? That's a Cayenne. Not quite as hot as the tie hot. So, oh, I'm so very excited to have tie hots and Dragon Cayenne back again in the garden. I have missed them in my hot pepper sauces. Another Peppadew. A couple of these peppers are almost ready. Looking beautiful. Feeling good. Another Peppadew, another Peppadew. I'm gonna have to stick another Dragon Cayenne out here because I think I've got 1, 2, 3. Do I have 3 tie hots and 1 Dragon Cayenne? Yeah, sure enough. I have 3 tie hots and 1 Dragon Cayenne. That's not fair. I'm gonna have to put 1 more of these Dragon Cayenne in the bed, definitely. So our Supersweet 100 tomatoes are starting to produce. We've harvested a few off of these. The racks, these are things supposed to be pretty prolific. They do like it. This is the other shade cloth I was telling you about. They do seem to like it under our shade cloth because our sun is almost directly downward. It's very hot sun. So I've got a couple of suckers that's kind of come off the bottom here. I really need to cut those so it stops wasting energy growing these things. In fact, don't I have scissors in my pocket right here? So this thing right here is stealing energy from the developing plant above, as is this thing and this thing. There we go. Pull these 3 out and the rest of the plant will have a much better chance at growing. Oh, there's another one right there. It's painful, I know. It's kind of hard to see, but that's how you make them grow bigger and stronger. Trust me. Throw those over there. I'll remember to never put them in the compost, I'm sure. So the Everglades tomatoes, my 1 Everglade tomato is still going strong. I planted 2 others and they are not growing strong. So whatever, it's okay. Just keep growing them. They're a little tiny. In fact, let me go over here and show you this, how tiny these things are. Little tiny bite-sized things. Look at that. Little burst of flavor in your mouth. They're so good. Good flavor. A little snacking. Oh, wow. Ooh, nice. Now, this Everglades tomato is an indeterminate tomato. And if you're familiar, they grow and grow and grow and grow until, and they vine up until the frost gets them or something gets them. Well, I'm gonna let this thing grow up to the trellis and then I'm gonna top them. And once you top them like that, it's going to encourage it to grow all these side shoots down, so it'll keep it shorter. I'm going to be doing the same thing with some of these Supersweet 100s. You'll notice they're kind of getting up to the top up here. Well, it's getting really close to time to top them and start encouraging the thickening of the rest of this. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed how these other Everglades did not take, and this one just seemed to thrive. So I don't know why. I thought maybe it was because the sun over here is not doesn't have shade cloth. I have aspirations of hanging another shade cloth out here somehow, but I'm not sure how yet. So anyway, past bed number 2, we have our remaining aloe patch, and there's not a lot left. If you go back and look a year ago at this patch, this area was full of massive aloe. And these things are just scrawny compared to what we had. So you can see I've got me a good path going through there. I can access the beds. I'm happy. That's a good thing. We're going to call that a win. Hopefully next year we'll be able to get some blooms again. We got 0 blooms this year. It was just too harsh on them, the weather and all. So over here to the pepper patch. This is in bed number 3. One of my favorite things. We have scotch bonnet. Look at that big, beautiful thing. Oh, just gorgeous. That's what my son took a bite out of, or ate whole the other day. This one, now the one he ate had a little bit of green on it, about, not even, actually less green than that. Longer it stays on the plant, the less green it is, the hotter it gets. So this is supposed to be pretty hot. It's also supposed to be pretty flavorful. So kind of excited to start doing experimenting with recipes with those. Down in here we have a Fatali hiding. Now see, this thing has no green anywhere on it, so that thing is like so hot and ready to go. Oh, that's gorgeous. It's kind of like what I ate over the weekend or last week. These are the tabasco. Yeah, tabasco sauce. These make tabasco sauce. And you say, no, that's green. Well, look down here. Now, I don't think the green, I think they use green peppers, but they do turn red. Look at there. And there's another, I saw another red one down in here. And you notice they just come right off. That cap just pops right off. And when they're big enough, like this right here, that cap typically just pops right off. So it's ready to harvest. Down here, there's a jalapeno hiding. It's kind of hidden down here, but it does have some small jalapenos. I don't know that this thing is going to do very well because it's buried. So we'll see. It doesn't have a lot of chance at sunlight. Peppers do like to be close together. They like company, which is why I have them. They also offer each other support. You see we have just tons and tons and tons of these scotch bonnet all through here. I mean, I can see 30 or 40 of them right there, and I already have a gallon bag full of them. So there's some more. Now this jalapeno plant, this got some space. And if I go under here, almost guaranteed to find, well, there's a nice big jalapeno right there. Let me see if I can get my other hand in there for reference. Give you an idea how big that is. This is actually my 7-year-old granddaughter ate one off of this plant. So she did really good. That was completely her decision. She wanted to do it. It was time. She likes hot stuff, and it was time. Another Fatali down here. Oh, look at that. These Fatali actually have a sub flavor, kind of a flowery sub flavor, which comes out when you make southern hot pepper sauce out of them. That's where you put these in a jar full of vinegar, poke holes in them with a fork, and then stick them in a jar, fill it with vinegar, let it sit for a few weeks or a month. Good stuff. So peri, you'll notice this plant right here sticking up. There's peppers all down it. These will turn red when they're ready. There might be some down there, but I don't think so because we've been picking those pretty regularly. This is our shishito. These are coming along pretty nicely. This is our mammoth jalapeno, which is quite a bit bigger. Now this guy has a little more space, but look down here at this big jalapeno right there. I'll wait till one of these starts turning red and then I'll harvest all of them off that plant. This is a Fatali plant. In fact, this is the Fatali plant we buried deep to see if it would grow any adventitious roots. If you're watching on a device that shows cards on the video, that's the little link in the upper right-hand corner or upper right-hand corner. If you're on a device that does that, I'll link that video in the cards. And then over there is a habanero. We've gotten a few habanero off of it, but I don't see any growing right now. It's got a little space, so I'm hoping it'll develop. I think we got 3 or 4 off of it. It's a slow producer, very hot, of course. Habanero. Oh, nope, I don't see one. But yeah, those big leaves right there, big solar panels for collecting extra heat or extra sun for those for the development of those really hot peppers. I have high hopes for that thing. High hopes. Past the pepper bed, we're still in bed number 3. I put down cardboard here. You might have seen in a video where I did that. We talked about using cardboard as a mulch, and you can see there's still stuff growing on the side, but it's time. I've traveled so much, I hadn't had time to do all this. And so sometimes you just have to take measures and do the best you can. And that's the best I could do right now. So that bed will be ready whenever I'm ready to plant in it. We're getting into our Principe Borghese tomato, and they're just all over. These things, this is a really prolific producer. It is a determinant tomato. And I saw someone say, there are no determinant cherry tomatoes. Well, folks, there is. And this is, in my opinion, the king of it. If you're growing this in a container, it doesn't get as big. This thing is probably close to 5 feet tall. This one right here is close to 5 feet tall from the ground up, but that's because it's planted in the ground. When I planted these in beds when we lived in the apartment, these things only grew, oh lordy, they were like 3, maybe 4 feet tall. I don't think they were even 4 feet tall. They're very controlled, very great for a small space garden, which is what we had. A small space garden. So, oh, one of the Romas fell and it's getting eaten somehow inside the bag. How did that happen? Oh, look, there's insects. There's the weakness of the bag. What if you trap some insects inside the bag? Oops. That wasn't good. Doggone it. Well, so Principe Borghese, there's on the other side over there is a Roma. There's another Roma over there. My Roma are not producing very well. I think I've got them too bunched up with these Principe Borghese, which have a tendency to get big. This here is Nebraska Wedding, and these haven't been producing very well, and I think it's the same thing, but they're not a super prolific producer. We've gotten a few of these off of here, and we have yet to try one this year, but we know what they're like. They're really oh my goodness, the Nebraska Wedding, we love it. In fact, here is one. Feels good. Oh yeah, this was ready to go. Let's go ahead and pick that thing and get it inside. I use these organza bags to keep insects off, and you can see this one has done its job. A little splitting on the top, probably from all the excess rain we've had. That's okay. I don't see very many buds on these, which concerns me. I'm not sure. I mean, there's a little place where buds are coming out right there. There's another one right there. So maybe it'll still produce. It's not a fast producer. I mean, the Principe Borghese starts producing tomatoes fast. I mean, you can see there's still more over here I hadn't even touched yet. We have a lot of these. We have 2 gallon bags, 2 1-gallon bags of these full. Well, one of them's full. The second one is pretty darn close. And with what we've got sitting on the windowsill, ripening, yeah, we'll probably almost fill that second bag, if not completely fill it. So anyway, so that is bed number 3. The very last thing I like to cover on the raised beds at the end of bed number 3, that's the end of bed 3 there, is the goji berry. And the goji berry produced this year. We actually got some decent goji berries, probably a full cup out of it. And we're kind of nibbling on those, trying to figure out what exactly we can do with those. But this thing is, I trimmed off a lot of the dead branches where it produced the goji berries. It's already starting new growth and getting ready for next year. So we will start training this up for, ooh, I see one. I actually see a goji berry. Here's a little tiny one. They normally grow about twice that long. That's ready to be harvested. Kind of a... The thing about goji berries, they look like a pepper, but they're like a tomato inside. They're not hot or anything. They're a little sweet like a tomato. They're extremely healthy for you. I mean, extremely healthy for you. And in fact, there are some Asian countries that swear by goji berries for their fountain of youth. And so it's a prolific producer. It grows through anything. Very difficult to kill. First time you eat one, it might have a little bit of an astringent taste to it. Don't stop with one. Just eat one at a time for your first couple of few. Second one, you'll notice immediately will taste better. The third one tastes just like, oh, delicious tomato, even better. Has a flavor to it. But anyway, so there you have the raised garden bed tours, the progress in the gardens, and it concludes our July 2023 garden tours. Can't believe still doing this. I'm enjoying it. I love doing these videos. I love being out here in the garden. The garden just gets me excited. It's just very fulfilling to go through the process here and see what's growing and get to nibble a few things on the way. And oh, these okra, oh, hang on. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to do it. If you like okra and if you've never eaten it fresh off the vine, put some of that on your salad. That is just the taste of okra. Now I understand some people don't like okra, and that's okay. You don't have to like okra to enjoy this channel. I love fried okra. I'd eat boiled okra, but it's hard to beat fresh okra right off the plant. Oh, lordy day. That is just delicious. Oh man, just melts in your mouth kinda. So anyway, as I've already said, if you're just stumbling along finding our channel, please subscribe. We're trying to help grow the overall community, our community and the overall community of gardeners and homesteaders and people who just want to learn how to provide some for themselves. It's very gratifying to know that no matter what, you can still provide for yourself just by throwing some seeds in the ground and watching God's hand grow food and just provide food for you, practically for free, sometimes totally for free. Anyway, please subscribe. If you've already subscribed, but you're just coming back to watch, all of you, thank you for watching, especially to this point. You come down to the end here, and I can't tell you how much every time someone watches the video, it helps. Helps the whole channel. And so if you thought this was educational, inspirational, entertaining, or whatever I normally say here, I'm getting tired. It's getting late in the afternoon. I've had a pretty rough day. But click a thumbs up and share on your social media with your friends that might be interested in seeing how they can provide for themselves. It's truly a blessing to be able to know that you have the wherewithal to provide for yourself. And you know, that brings up one small point I wanted to mention here. There's no such thing as a brown thumb or a black thumb or a black and crispy thumb like we used to say of Mrs. Bowtie. There's no such thing. It's just a lack of information. And it's information that now is very easy to come by. Find some YouTube channels that speak to you, that you can learn from, and don't think of yourself as someone with a black thumb, with a brown thumb, anything like that. You can do it. Have a blessed day.